Welcome to New York Got Game.
What's up, Knicks fans? The offseason rolls on. We talked about a lot of things through this offseason, who the Knicks have added in free agency, how some of the young players might look. But there's one big question that I know is on the mind of a lot of Knicks fans out there, and that's how is new head coach Mike Brown going to maximize this offense? So we're going to take a look at that today because we know Mike Brown did a pretty good job with the Sacramento Kings and their offense. But what we're going to look at today is pick and roll combos, right? And we're going to look at that in particular and how that can be used with the Knicks' two All-NBA players. We're talking about Jalen Brunson. We're talking about Karl-Anthony Towns. These are guys who are some of the best in the business when it comes to getting buckets. But can that become even more efficient? Well, I think that it can, because when you look at the data and when you look at some of the video, especially with the Kings, I feel like there's a lot to look at. So you know what I want? I want you guys to come and take a look with me. All right, Knicks fans, we are going to look at some footage last season for the Sacramento Kings. Why are we looking at the Kings? Well, Mike Brown, he coached the team for a portion of last season, and their pick and roll partners, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Fox was the point guard for most of last season for the Kings, and they were highly effective in pick and roll situations, particularly their point guard, we just talked about, De'Aaron Fox. He finished first in effective field goal percentage as the pick and roll ball handler with a 58.3% effective field goal percentage. That's really good, and that's at a minimum of 100 possessions. He also ranked second in field goal percentage as the pick and roll ball handler, converted 53.9 of his attempts in those situations, looking at a minimum of 80 pick and roll possessions. So he was highly efficient in those situations with Domantas Sabonis. And when you look at that, you would think that Jalen Brunson, who's a slightly better offensive player than De'Aaron Fox, should thrive in pick and roll possessions with his big man partner in Karl-Anthony Towns. But the question is, how did this all work and why was it so effective for one of the best offenses in the league in the Sacramento Kings? Well, told you I was going to look at some video here of the Kings, and we're going to start by looking at what the Kings were doing so well and so effectively throughout the season. Now, when you look at the Kings, they were running pick and roll actions off of misses. Here we've got De'Aaron Fox. He's come to court. You see Domantas Sabonis set the screen. Stop right here. Look at that. That is three defenders. All of their eyes are on De'Aaron Fox, and that creates a lot of space. Fox has got a couple of options right there, each at the top of the breaks for three-pointers. Look at what Fox does here once we allow this to go. He finds Domantas Sabonis for an open three-pointer, and that she's going to let it fly. Doesn't get the shot. Now, you're wondering, why am I showing a missed shot? Well, that's still good offense. De'Aaron Fox created the shot off of the pick and roll. First things first, it's a really good screen by Domantas Sabonis, but De'Aaron Fox has good recognition here. Once he has that pump fake, realize he's got his man beat, has an open player in Domantas Sabonis, and it leads to a wide open three. Good offense sometimes can be by what you're able to create. It's not all about whether you make the shot or not. Now, to be a highly efficient offense, you want to make those shots, but here the key is De'Aaron Fox used the pick and roll, used a great screen from Domantas Sabonis, and was able to create a highly efficient shot, a wide open three-pointer, which is what you want out of your offense. If it's not a layup or a dunk, you want wide open threes. The Kings were able to create that. So this here is about the shot creation. This is what you like, and there can be variety of what you can do here in the pick and roll. So first thing that we showed, the first play that we showed here, not something where they got points out of it, but a great shot was created, and that's something you want to see if you're the Knicks, right? And it wasn't too laborious. It was rather fluid. It felt easy in the flow of the offense. That's something you want to see. Now, we'll look at this next possession that's going the other way against the Phoenix Suns. You've got De'Aaron Fox again as a primary ball handler at the bottom of your screen right here. Now, watch Domantas Sabonis sets the screen. Fox here is going to have options. We know about Fox's speed. He can get to the cup. He can pull up from the midi. He's got a couple of options. These are options that Jalen Brunson would also have here too. But the key here is, folks, another good screen set by the big man, Domantas Sabonis. Now watch him roll. He rolls, Fox finds him, draws two defenders, perfect bounce pass, and we know what Sabonis could do once he gets in the paint. You see him right there with the easy finish for two. Now again, all this is created because of the threat of two players, right? What can Fox do with his speed and get into the cup? You got to worry about Sabonis. Good hands, also a tremendous passer, besides scorer as well too, such a versatile player. So this is what makes this so dangerous for the Kings in that action, and it all started off of the pick and roll. Now we're going to look at the next play here. De'Aaron Fox on the other side of the court. And I want us to go back just a little bit because this was a very slight pick that's set here and then a slip by Domantas Sabonis. It wasn't a hard pick. It wasn't a real solid screen. Just ever so slightly does he clip the player. And then what Sabonis does extremely well here is he automatically, right after that, slips to the basket because all the attention from two defenders is on Fox. And what does happen? Nice shovel pocket pass, goes right to Domantas Sabonis, and he's able to get another easy 2 points. We're going to look at this one more time here. And really, it's not a hard screen because, look, Sabonis right here is getting ready to set that screen. He's thinking about it, wants to set the screen. But once he sees the defender overcommit to try to get around to Fox, he goes the other way. Sabonis is smart here and realizes, okay, he had to go around me on the mini screen that I set. Now I can slip to the basket. That's going to create space for De'Aaron. And De'Aaron does what he needs to do, makes the right read, gets the pass, and we've got 2 points there for the Sacramento Kings. So that's really good offense here. Now, we're going to look at one more play for the Kings. And the reason I love this play is because what you've seen in the first couple of plays was how either Fox, in this situation, was able to make the pass to Sabonis. So actually, in all those plays, he was able to. And Sabonis is the beneficiary of the shot here. But this is a play where, because of the proficiency of the pick and roll between the point guard and the big man, it creates opportunities for others. And that's something you want to see out of your offense. Can it create opportunities for others? So I want everybody to watch this play, and I'm going to step out to the side so you can see this, because on this play, this really shows how the offense can start cooking. So when you look at this play, De'Aaron Fox has the ball right here. Another good pick set by Domantas Sabonis, but his head is up, and look at this right here as we go back. He sees, comes off the pick, that's set for Domantas Sabonis. Now, what is Domantas Sabonis going to do? He's likely going to slip away to the three-point line here, right? And the defense knows this too. They've got to keep their eye on him. He actually started rolling towards the basket. But De'Aaron Fox, because he's such a good point guard, keeps his head up, finds Keegan Murray, who's wide open in the corner. Splash. Easy money for Keegan Murray right there. And that's all because he was able to keep his head up the whole time, and the defense had to worry about De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Let's watch that one more time because the pass is beautiful, the read is beautiful. It's just small execution, another high pick and roll action here that we've seen again, and Fox keeping his head up. He's made the right play in all of these plays we watch. So that's what you want to see out of your high-level all-NBA point guard, your all-NBA big man. This is the kind of action that you want to see. Now, when we talk about the Knicks last season and you looked at their offense, a lot of times you can talk about how great Karl-Anthony was, all-NBA player. How great Jalen Brunson was, also an all-NBA player. But these were guys that feasted a lot in isolation situations. And while the iso ball sometimes can be sexy and we like to see all that, it can be really laborious and it can wear on players throughout the season. So what you want to do is find easier ways for them to score, to keep their teammates involved, for the offense to be humming and not to wear your players down. Honestly, a lot of times when we looked at basketball in the Tom Thibodeau era, it was a lot of isolation ball. In the late game situations, it was a lot of, all right, let's give it to Jalen and let's let him cook. We all know Jalen can cook, but as I said, is that the best thing for the team? Is that the most efficient way to create offense? I would say no. I want us to look at some plays from the Knicks last season where we saw Jalen Brunson and we saw Karl-Anthony Towns cooking, but might have been a little bit too difficult. So let's look right here. This game against the Hawks, we've got Jalen Brunson, and he's got the ball on the right side. You're going to see him right here. He's cooking, dancing between the legs, little spin. Ooh, you like how he got him there. Splash bottoms. You like that. But that's a lot of work, folks. That's a lot of work that we're seeing from Jalen Brunson there just to get 2 points. Now, you got to think, when you're having plays like that time and time again, I know we all like to see Jalen Brunson cook, but when you're doing that through the course of a season, that's going to wear down on you, especially when you're the captain, especially when you're the leader. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. Look at how he had to spin just to get the shot off over DeAndre Hunter. He hits the shot, so that's a good one. Now, we've seen Jalen Brunson, but I'm also going to step out here so we can take a look at Karl-Anthony Towns. We know Karl-Anthony Towns, if he gets the ball at the top of the key, beyond the arc, he does have the capability to put it on the floor, as he does right here. But look how far he has to go as a big man. Even though he could put it on the floor, a lot of contact that he took right there, that's a lot of work. And we saw this a lot of times with KAT throughout the playoffs, where sometimes it looked really clunky here. Look, takes the hit. You got to give KAT the credit here. Absorbs the contact, is able to adjust and finish. But that's asking a lot of your big man. Are there easier shots that you can get for Karl-Anthony Towns? I would say yes. Now here's another play with Jalen Brunson. He's got Georges Niang on him, and he's ready to go to work. He's got on the perimeter. This is a mismatch. Georges Niang has got nothing for him, and you see the crossover dribble back with the left to the right, and Jalen Brunson just easily pulls up. He's got his man beat, pulls up, and is able to drain the shot. Really beautiful shot by Jalen Brunson, but a lot of work. When you're doing stuff off the dribble, can become real laborious. Now, we're also going to look at KAT here. KAT gets the ball once again. It's about 27 feet out. KAT puts the ball on the floor. He can be good at doing that, draws two defenders, and he's got to hit a tough shot. These are tough baskets we're seeing. These are not easy baskets. And while we love seeing NBA players at a high skill level hit tough baskets, you need them to get some easy baskets sometimes too, because doing this time and time again, as I said, can really wear on a player. So while we see KAT flex there and all that looks good, what we have to remember is this is something I just showed you about how it looked during the regular season, where things might have been a bit laborious. And we saw some of this, as I said, in the postseason. But I want to go back a little bit to the preseason. And last preseason, when we looked at Jalen Brunson, when we looked at Karl-Anthony Towns, they teamed for 68 pick and rolls. That was the most in the NBA last preseason. The next closest was 42. And those pick and rolls generated 1.320 points per possession. That's really, really good. That would have ranked first in the NBA the season before that. Now, in the 2024-2025 season, last season, Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, they were a highly effective pick and roll pairing for the Knicks. They ran the most pick and roll actions in the league, producing 1.081 points per direct action. That ranks in the 62nd percentile overall. So not quite as efficient as what we saw in the preseason. And you wonder with that, was there enough of it? Was there enough variation? They did run a lot of action, but how they ran the action, right? We saw with the Kings, when we looked at the video earlier, there was different variations of pick and pop, pick and slips, pick and rolls. Sometimes just showing a little pick from Domantas Sabonis, not a hard screen, but then rolling to the basket. There were a lot of different variations we saw just in 4 clips. So the variety, we don't see a lot of that with the Knicks, so we didn't see that in Tom Thibodeau's offense. Left a lot to be desired, right? And we know that the pick and roll still, and I think Knicks fans wanted to see more of it, it was a key part of the Knicks' strong half-court offense. And that half-court offense, it was among the best in the league last season, but they still can improve. They did produce 1.081 points per direct action. That ranked 8th among the top 20 most used pick and roll combos in the league, right? So how does it get better? It was highly used, could have been even more. Feels like a weapon that had not been tapped into more, and you want to see how that can look. Now, we do have some things that we can look at with the Knicks, particularly from last preseason when they ran a lot of these actions and were highly efficient. I do want to pause and say, I understand. It is preseason, right? And you can't take so much more out of it, but there was a lot to see here where how it could work and how they could be highly efficient and how we saw a lot of different variation in those pick and roll combinations between Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. So I want us to take a look, and we're going to go back to the preseason, and we're going to look at what happened against Minnesota. A couple of games that they had against Minnesota and Washington that we're going to look at particularly here. And watch Jalen Brunson here. He comes off the pick and rolls. You see that slowdown. Good pick set by KAT. And Brunson is able to accelerate and get all the way to the basket. So what I love about that action right there, high pick and roll, you got it right by the logo. Just as you come across half court, you're making the defenders have to commit and make a decision right here. And once he gets past the big man, which is Naz Reid, Brunson has got to step, and he knows it. And now the last line of defense is Donte DiVincenzo, and that's his boy, but he knows that's no defense right there. So that is an excellent job of the pick being set by KAT, creating the opportunity for Jalen Brunson to go all the way downhill. Now, we look at this game here against the Wizards, and we're on the other side of the court. Jalen Brunson starts with the ball here once again. He's patient. The thing I like about this is patience right here. He's waiting for KAT to set the pick because we've got to slow down. And once that comes, he rejects the screen. He actually doesn't take the screen and goes left. He doesn't go right as he would have done to take the pick. Goes left, nice hezzy, and is able to finish. So Jalen Brunson, who we know is really adept with footwork, really patient player, rejected the screen there and then was able to cook. Now we're going to look at some actions and how this actually benefits KAT in the pick and roll. So this one also against the Wizard, KAT sets a screen here. Brunson goes away from it, but KAT does a great job of rolling towards the basket. Brunson able to find him with a nice bounce pass right there. This is something similar to what we saw from De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis, right? Show the screen, reject it, go the other way. The spacing is right there. Too much speed for KAT. He gets the ball perfectly in stride and is able to drive and finish. That's great offense right there by the Knicks. Now, here's Brunson again. Action again on the right side of the floor. And here we go. Patient, waits for the screen. Brunson now goes. See, the key here is a good pause right there. Brunson gets into the paint here. Once he's past the free throw line, all eyes are on him. The defense has to commit. He's got a defender on his back, another defender right in front of him, and that allows him to do this. Make the pass right to KAT, and KAT with the easy finish. So getting off of the pick and roll and getting depth into the paint matters a ton too for these guys. Now, on this play that we're going to look here once again against the Wizards, what I love about this here is what can happen in the two-man game in a different way. So stop right here. You see KAT show, and he shows like he's going to set a screen, but he doesn't set the screen, and instead he decides to go to post up. And a lot of you have been asking for more KAT post. So KAT gets the ball high post, but the good thing here is you see what the two-man action can do. KAT decided to give it back to Jalen Brunson. So off the show of the pick and roll, you can have a little give and go action, and you get that here. And look at what that does, because once Jalen Brunson knows that he has his man beat, he's out of position and has to make a decision to try to follow him or go around the post area of where KAT is. Now that decision is tough. KAT smartly gives the ball back to Jalen Brunson. Now you get the switch that you want. The big is on Jalen Brunson. He's beat, and Jalen Brunson is going to go in for the easy two in the layup. And another thing to note on that play is KAT does a good job of rolling back towards the three-point line. So in case help came over, now Jalen Brunson would have had another defender commit. He could have swung it over to the weak side. He could have went back to KAT out for the three. There were a lot of options for him there. So you like that offense there. So even in the pick and roll, you can see some give and go action there. That's really good. Now, this last play here as we stop, you see the good screen there set by Karl-Anthony Towns. But one of the things that I think has been noted is everything, and we saw this with the Keegan Murray play, in terms of what went right for the Kings. Sometimes the pick and roll action can create a lot of good stuff for other players. And this is what this play does for the Knicks against Minnesota. Now you get that pick and roll, Brunson gets deep into the paint. There's nothing there for him, right? So he passes the ball out, gets it to Josh Hart, he gets it back here, and now he's looking. But because so much happened when Jalen Brunson got into the paint, that created a whole bunch of mismatches. So now everybody's not guarding who they're supposed to guard. Jalen Brunson, he's got some bigger players on him, but he swings it to OG Anunoby, who stopped right here. He's got Rudy Gobert on him. Now, Rudy Gobert is a great defender, multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year winner, but OG Anunoby knows that he's got a little bit of foot speed on him and can make him work. So OG Anunoby decides to go to work off the dribble and pulls up for the shot, and he gets it. So the Knicks got what they wanted there. Part of good offense is you want to create mismatches, and that's what you saw the Knicks do right there in that offense. They were able to create the mismatches that they wanted, and that's the beauty of using these pick and roll combinations. And you know what we saw in all that as compared to the ISOs we saw? It didn't look laborious. The Knicks didn't look like they were struggling. Jalen Brunson got some easy buckets. Karl-Anthony Towns got some easy buckets. We even saw OG Anunoby feast off of that too. So when you look at this, the Knicks have already had some of the blueprint for this, but I think now if they can add some of the wrinkles that we saw from Mike Brown into the system of what we saw him do in Sacramento, I think this can work wonders for the Knicks. I think you should expect to see more pick and roll combos between Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, more dribble handoff action using both of those players and other players that will open up the offense for the Knicks, because the key for Mike Brown is going to be to maximize this offense. That is exactly what you're going to want to do. You want to maximize this offense. And if the Knicks can maximize this offense, it can work wonders for them. All right, Knicks fans, that's going to do it for this video recap. Thought it was good to look at some of the pick and roll combos with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Also to go and look back at what had been going on with the Kings. It's going to be a very interesting season. We're going to see what the Knicks offense can do. But I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Should the Knicks be going even deeper, even heavier with these pick and roll combos with their 2 All-NBA players? Should other players get heavily involved in these pick and roll combos next season? Or should there be more variety of different things and different actions that you would like to see in the offense? Definitely let me know what you think. That's going to do it for this Knicks video breakdown. I'm Dexter Henry. Catch y'all next time. Peace.
And thanks for watching New York Got Game. Boom shakalaka.